G'day guys, and welcome to World of Tanks with the Magnificent Margon. Um, I haven't played any battles today, but I thought, you know what? You don't need to really play that many battles. You can just use Tank Inspector to show a few things. Now, I'm going to go through a few tanks you commonly see using Tank Inspector. That's a new trick. I didn't even notice this before, but you can actually make the turret spin. Isn't that cool? Something new that's obviously just recently happened. I did re-download this the other day just because it was messing up and not working properly. And obviously because it was changing all these different features and adding new things to it to make the models do things that you wouldn't normally see. So that's not too bad. That's pretty cool. So here we are on the T150. Now I have been seeing a lot of these lately. They are a very sort of trolley tank. As you can see, most of the front is 120 armor, plus all that angling of the plate makes it go right up to like 221. Only difference is you've got this amazing Commander's cup hole, which is only a 75, sort of straight on. 91, you can penetrate that. The other weak points on the front here, like as much as this plate on the front here is pretty good. Like 95 is not too bad. You get these awful weak points, like the driver's hatch right here is only 75, 60. You got the machine gunner's port 75. So really on the T150, if you're facing him down, you've got those as your really options to aim for. Lower Glacier 100, yeah, it's probably the biggest bet, biggest target, and a lot of guns will penetrate 100 mil at whatever tier this is. What tier are we? I can never remember. I opened this up before looking through quickly. Tier 6. So by tier 6, generally you do have pretty good sort of shooting anyway, but a lot of the time shots bounce everywhere and you'll hit this upper glacier a lot. Get the side, it's perfect, 100 mil, 130, cup holes 76, so you're still aiming for that cup hole, but if you get the top of this turret, 100 mils is not too bad. Around the rear here, only 70, 80, 40 through there. So yeah, if you can get behind it and take it out. You'll probably find if you hit here, you do damage too, probably even ammo racking, because that's where they throw the ammo in through. So if you can blow him up, blow him up. So there you go, that's the T150, just a quick thing. Here's the colour scale. Sort of, some people like to see that, as you can see those weak points there popping up, but if I just go through the peeping hole, it's only like 75, 60, something like that. Machine gun 75. As you can see, there are a few little ricochet points up here you gotta be mindful of. But if you shoot straight through there, you're gonna get the commander. As you can see, this plate's not real. It's pretty strong plate, but it's not the best. Like you go back to here and 45, 46, yeah, getting lower down, and it is a small target to hit. So the T150 is very troll for its. Like my mate loved his T150, Kaz. He said it was very tough tank, and it is a tough tank compared to its little sort of baby brother, the KV-1S. Now, as you all know, I love this tank, but if it's angled right, you get pretty good armor all round on the angling. Side scraping. Yeah, if you're side scraping, not a lot to shoot at. Sort of ricochet all over that point there. So it's pretty good side scraping if you're just coming out at the right angles. So they can't really do a lot to you. They might detrack you if they hit you up here and things like that, but really they're aiming for your turret. And up on the turret, yes, the cheeks. Now, I noticed this before when I was just sort of looking. It seems to be the left side. No, it's the same. Maybe it was a different tank. I noticed that one side was weaker than the other. I think it was on the IS I was looking. But once again, that plate there, very weak if you can shoot through that point. The upper glacier point there, yeah, it's weak too. So it's pretty weak as a frontal tank. And You don't play this as a frontline tank. You normally play behind your sort of 150 and things like this. Now, I do love the gun it has. I think it's an incredible gun. Side, yeah, hitting the sides, as we all know. Sides are pretty weak on most tanks because they're not designed for battling on the side. Back of it again, there. Colour details, so all those things. So as I said, that plate there, only 79. Cheeks up here, 110 sort of thing. Commander's cup hole, 94. And I do find a lot of people can hit on the KV-1S, the Commander's cup hole. It seems to be a very common point to get. As again, there it is moving around, looking all pretty. I can move its turret up and down and all sorts of things like that. It's very, very, very clever. Now the IS. Now this is another tank that I've just got, and I was sitting there and I thought, you know what, I want to find out where and how to make this tank more effective. As you can see, that's right, it is this tank. 140 on the right hand side. Now it looks like the left hand side is slightly bigger. As you can see, 122, 140. So if you can get the left hand cheek, aim for it. It seems to be the point to hit. Now 120 mils, 130 mils, it's not too bad. Otherwise, getting down there around that ring, just sort of deflecting it into there, you'll do damage. 120. You'll probably get a ricochet into there, jam the turret. And for me, I've noticed commonly this turret has been getting jammed. Again, 100 mil on that cup hole. The little driver's hatch, 120 mil. It's sort of, I thought it would be a lot more bouncier than what it is. I thought, oh yeah, IS, new design tank and everything else, but its frontal plates really sort of let me down, and I did die a few times going, what is going on? I thought this tank was one of those troll tanks, and then I realised that after playing the IS a bit, it's not. It's sort of, it's basically a KV-1S body, just with a few more little tweaks, like you have, as you can see here on the model, these angling plates here. So it's a much smaller front plate than the KV-1S or the T150. As you can see, they got the big plate across there. The IS has an angle plate. Now this is coming into sort of the design of the IS-3 and how it gets the angle pike nose. Now I haven't got an IS-3 yet, so I don't know really how dangerous it is. Once again, 90 on the side of the turret. Tracks. Now the motor protection at the back is pretty good because of the angling. Like as you saw before, it was about 40 to 50. There's 70 around the back here because they've 80 down the bottom. So it's just to protect that engine at the back a bit more. But you shoot through here, you'll get engine fires. I've actually shot through there on KV-1Ss, as you've seen on my KV-2, blown them up one shot. Now I'm not going to pull up the KV-2 model. It speaks for itself. If I can find it, there it is. It's down with the 1S designs. We all know, huge target on top. Pretty weak arm all around unless you hit the gun mantle, but even then it's still pretty weak. Sort of the KV-1 body with a big bloody turret shoved on top of it, and it's not too bad. If you hold this thing back too much, it won't perform, but if you sit in the right position, it will perform the KV-2. As I was saying, the IS-3 is where it sort of changes up a bit. As you can see, you get the pike nose. Now straight on, it's pretty well designed for straight on battles because of the way it's all angled, but as soon as you try the side scrape and stuff, you're losing that potential. And like 160, what was it before? 160 through there, 90, 70. So you come on the angle here, and your pike nose, if you side scrape, it doesn't change it too much. Actually, I thought it did. I heard earlier that maybe I was just not listening too much, but you shoot down there. If you're shooting from above, you're aiming there. So it's designed purely and simply as it's already side scraping. So it's designed as a side scrape the whole time. Weaknesses? Well, not really too much, unless you're going to hit this point. Aim for those black dots. I find they're the targeting points to go through. It just seems to be the weak point, as you can see as I change over the two different zones. Seems to be the weak point. The model doesn't really show it as a weak point, it shows it as one armor. But, for some unknown reason, it's weak just there. Now, if you can plant one, it's not going to help you. So, the IS is really quite a tough tank, all round. No real cup holes to shoot, as you can see, like they're just here, the cup holes. So if we go down, yeah, if you get it, it's a very slim chance, very small target. I have found, which side was it on? Must have been this side. I was aiming just there and I was penetrating, and that's the only major point, the weak point that I found in the IS. To date with this turret, even with this turret, it's pretty tough with just the stock turret. So we'll go back to the normal IS turret. Yep, okay, spin around. So you can see the side of it. Yep, you're pretty well going to penetrate the side, rear. Here's the tank model. See, it's going to penetrate, but as you can see, the turret's got a whole heap of different plates and panels that you've got to shoot through and stuff. So hitting the top one seems to be the place to shoot. So you're aiming just up here, sort of following the gun height back round, and that's where you're aiming on the turret on the side. Otherwise, hit round here. There's no other way to say it. You hit round here, you're going to hit pretty well. Front near 155, 170 sort of thing. It's pretty good tank all round. I haven't got one yet. I can't wait to get my hands on an IS. One of the other common ones I've been seeing a lot of is the AMX 5100, and I've been sitting here going, okay, I'm having trouble looking at this thing. I just think of the bat shot and I just go roar, and as you can see, it's got fairly decent angling plates, but they're all only about 140. So the turret 90 up around the gun, 160 around the gun point, 90 on the turret ring. So really, it's an impressive tank, but it is still weak. But the rate of fire that the French guns pump out is really what kills you. Having a lot of time those auto loaders, it just the French obviously really love their auto loaders. I don't see a French tank really without an auto loader. And that's what does the damage a lot of the time, is those auto loaders. And there's not much you can do versing them, but you've just got to cross your fingers, go in there, and hope for the best. So 20 mils there. So there you go. The commander's cup hole straight on. It's only 20 mils, 30 mils on the side. So these things are fairly quick, but the French seem to have had fairly quick tanks all round. AMX 1375 is another common one, but it's only quick. As you can see, you can penetrate most of it. That covers the French. Now, I came on here really to look at the E100 and the E75 earlier today. E75, I started thinking there has to be a weakness on this tank. Nope. Okay, this is not looking good. I was thinking to myself, okay, rightio, commander's cup hole, 180. Yeah, okay, cool. Don't verse these things front on. You're not going to win. It is just ridiculous. I didn't really realise until I came on Tank Inspector how ridiculous this tank is. Now I know they're ridiculous, but that's just a joke. Like, the whole front of it is just incredible with that sloping armour. Like, it's like 160 mils, but by the time you get that slope, it's 180 mils, and you're not going to penetrate that thing easily. I thought, oh, maybe that light dead in the centre is a weakness. No, it's not. It's just there purely to look spectacular. Only weakness you can find is really the sides of it. The rear, as we all know. The rear, and the rear is still pretty tough. 140, 120. You're still really wanting to attack just the sides of this tank and the turret. If you're at the rear, probably the back of the turret is the best place to hit, because all this is 140. So I thought, okay, so when I get my E75, it's really, I'm going to be charging people and going, come on, shoot the front of me, and scaring them, and that's the way you got to use it. Go the E100, and it doesn't change much. There's still a lot of ricochet points. 300, 250 to 300 on the front. I know that with my FV215B, if I don't load premium rounds, I'm never going to penetrate it from the front, and I normally only I only aim and fire for the 2 cheek points either side of the gun on this tank, because that's the only places I've found to penetrate. Otherwise, 183, 160. Let's have a look at the back of this one. Yeah, that's pretty good. 200 sort of. 100 up there. That's the point I'll be aiming for, and things like that. So, really, this is one of those tanks you're just staring people down. Similar to the mouse. Now, mouse doesn't seem to get the love it used to. Like, it's got this lovely ricochet point here to protect its gun from getting jammed from frontal assaults. Now, I know a lot of people do shoot through this front point here. Now, I thought it was easier to shoot through than what it says to me when I'm sort of looking on it. It's not as easy as you think. Like here, 260. On the sides, 180. The turret is still incredible, 240. So you're aiming for that big panel there to shoot through. The back of the turret up there, around there. So aiming for that little ball point. That seems to be the point. Yeah, angle. Yeah, not really worth it. And then inside again. So, Mouse 100 and E75 are pretty troll in themselves. And they're an amazing tank. I must say though, now I didn't really know that they at the back there, those 2 ring points, are actually to carry extra fuel. Obviously this thing was a fuel guzzler, but understandably with the weight that it's trying to push, having that bit of an extra fuel tank may have actually made it easier while they were driving long distances with this tank. Now we never really made it to battle, but that extra fuel probably did help it to get to the test zones and stuff like that. The other tank I wanted to try and figure out how to destroy and defeat was the American T-57. Now when I play Tier 8, Tier 9 and Tier 10, a lot of time I'm starting to see the 57. Now 57 is pretty troll. If we look at the model, there's not a lot of weakness in it. Like, you're not hitting there. You're not gonna. You can penetrate there, but it's not worth it. But you move up here, that just there is 150, 160, 170 sort of mils. But if you go just below where the turret ring is, 116. And I thought, okay, so you're aiming below the gun, and you're aiming for the turret ring. Glower Glacier, that's the other point there. Still, 150 is not too bad. The side of it, yeah, 150, 38, 40. So 140 on average sort of thing. Hitting through there, through the track point, 100 mil. Back, of course, the back has got no armor whatsoever. 38 armor. Yeah, okay, so really, frontal assault on these, unless you can get it through these points here, and you've got to nearly have 180 mils of penetration to do it successfully, even around the gun, it's still not the best. It's going to be tough. The cup holder, even the cup holder, 200 mils, so it's a tough tank. Now, everyone, oh, excuse me, Kaz and Harlequin said to me the other day, we should all grind up and get them. And as much as, yeah, getting one of these would be great to improve the stats of my playing, I enjoy just playing tanks in general. Like, it will be something I will get eventually, but something I don't need to get right now. The other one I looked at was the 28 Prot. Now the 28 Prot, it's not too bad. Like, the machine gun port is where you're aiming. Everywhere else is 200. That's 150. So there you go. That's the weakness there. I thought, nah, the turret's not. Otherwise, as we all know, sides. The sides on this thing has got no armor. So if you frontally assault this tank, it's pretty well what you're going to do. Oop, hang on. Go back there. So yeah, so the sides, 150 on the turret, so you're still not really over the turret. 50mm rear and side. So all in all, frontal assault on this, unless you can shoot that machine gunner's port, a bit lower, which is still a pretty tough target to shoot at, it's going to be tough for you. Now, the other one I looked at, which was the T28 fixed turret one. Now, 200 just beside the gun. 217 front plate, no lower glacier, it's a ricochet point down there. Otherwise, you've got the little commander's ports. You have to hit them. They're really the only successful point you're going to do to them. But it's not a tank you like staring down. So if you've got speed and mobility on your side, try to get around the side of it. It's probably your best option. So you can see, the higher up you go, the weaker the armor. So if we come back down here, sort of 150 through the dead center, 86 there, commander's cup holes 180 or 150. So yeah, otherwise rear is the best place. Now the T95, I haven't seen a lot of these for a while now. They were very sort of trolley tank, almost like a Dalek. Exterminate. Anyway, 145. Like, you're not gonna penetrate this thing easily from the front. Cup holders, 190. It's still pretty tough. Once again, you come out of the side, 230, 145, 100. If you go to the model, you actually look at the model. There you go, gun. You can see the colour changes between those two different zones. And I regularly do aim, if I get on the side of these, for that top zone there, because it is so weak. There's like 100, 500 there. You ain't gonna penetrate that, brother. It's not gonna happen. So that's pretty well those ones there. I think that pretty well covers it. Like, most of us know that the AT and the British lines, they're pretty tough tanks, but you aim for their little cup holders on the top and they fall all the sides. Churchills and stuff, you aim for their tracks and the Black Princes. Carnarvon, lower glacier, pretty well on him. They're not as tough as I thought they would be as a heavy tank. I thought, yeah, angled armor be a lot better. It wasn't that great when I played through, and it's a good rate of fire. The rate of fire makes up for it. Russians, covered them. Chinese, I don't know a lot about the Chinese, other than all these tanks here are pretty funny to have. They're very powerful. Type 62, Type 64, sorry, is a very good scouting tank. I would buy one of those, and I would recommend doing it too. It is just one of those tanks you can get in the position really quickly and do some serious damage. T100, pike nose design. It's a pretty tough tank frontal. 200 on the lower glacier, otherwise 230-ish on those angles. 250. But yeah, I wasn't going to do too many. I didn't really feel I needed to add battles today, guys. I just thought I'd just go through Tank Inspector, just grab a few random tanks, point out sort of little weaknesses. I'll probably cover them when I do the tank reviews on those tanks over time. as I get them. So I just thought they're the tanks I see a lot of at the moment, and I thought, you know what, if I'm seeing a lot of them, people need to know their weaknesses. It's not fair that everyone sits there and goes, oh, I got a 57, oh, I got a T95, oh, I've got a E100, I'm troll, no one can kill me. Well, you can't be killed, you just got to play it smart. And whether that means you got to take a handful of preemie rounds in, or skill shots, just so you can do the damage, or you just drive around them and ignore them and get behind them using speed in whatever way, shape or form that you do it. I didn't cover many of the low tier tanks, mostly sort of 6 and up, I would dare say, sort of thing. It's sort of like the low tiers, there's not much you can comment on them. They're pretty weak in general, but they're pretty powerful for their tiers. But it's sort of more or less get to learn. You learn about them as you go, and really the bottom tiers on any of them, sort of up to tier 4, you don't really have much of a chance. Like you're in them for about 4 battles before you get the next tank. So it's not really, you're not in long enough unless you go back and you play like the T18, Seal Clubber, and little things like that. So it's more or less you play what you can play at those tiers, and you're just working up to get the tank you'd like to get in the end. So hopefully this has helped you guys out with some of those tougher tanks that I see. Please leave your comments if you want me to show others on Tank Inspector. You can just say, hey, look, Margon, what if you have a look at these tanks? Show us these tank models on your inspector. If you really want this, I will put the Tank Inspector link below in my sort of description section. So that way then if you want to download this and use it like I do to find out those weaknesses and stuff like that, it just keeps me afresh of the new stuff. Now there are going to be new tanks coming out with the expansion or the patch, whichever way you want to look at it, involving the Stug sort of tanks. There's going to be a couple of different ones coming out just because of historical battles. Wargaming decided they needed to add them, just so they were there for their purposes. The great Carl. Not much can be said about him. He's pretty well hit anywhere, and you're going to do damage. Yeah, so outside of that, guys, if you like the video, want to leave a comment, please do so. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I do weird things every now and then. Wow, 30 minutes of me just talking about weak points. I didn't think I'd get that long. So if you want to leave a comment, ask questions, as I said, please do. I will try my best to answer them. So yeah, Facebook page as usual, it's there too. Come join me over there. I do put things up, like I link things every now and then, like I linked from World of Tanks the mouse rebuild that Wargaming going to do with one of the museums over there that does have a mouse. The Chieftain, he actually did a small review on the mouse a little while back and showed that it was pretty decrepit. So obviously Wargaming thought, well, you know what, let's get this thing going. Let's get this and show the world what it is and what it's like. So that's really good. So I do things like that. As I keep saying, I need to do some work on my pages to make them look prettier. Just haven't got around to it yet. So outside of that, happy hunting, guys, and I will catch you on that battlefield.